What if we told you that the most shocking love triangle in hip-hop didn't begin with Papoose and didn't end with Easy the Block Captain? Because, according to a now-viral interview that has the internet turning back the clock and re-watching old Terror Squad videos, Remy Ma allegedly dated Fat Joe before she ever met Papoose. Yes, the Gwat herself, Claressa Shields, blew the whole thing open while promoting a boxing match. She revealed a bombshell that had nothing to do with fists and everything to do with hearts, lies, and concealed hotel receipts. Claressa simply stated, she was with Joe before Pap, right? That isn't news to us, it's news to y'all. Hold up, come again. Fans are now reliving 2005 backstage footage, analyzing body language from the awards show and poring over old lyrics as if it were the Zapruder movie. Was it ever just music? Or was Fat Joe holding more than just the microphone tonight that they hoped we'd ignore? After you hear what Claressa truly revealed, you won't look at Lean Back the same way ever again. Let's stop acting like Claressa's. Shields dropped some random gossip. What she did was set off a ticking time bomb. The industry was buried years ago under mixtapes' prison bids and black love hashtags because what she said is true. Remy Ma was with Fat Joe before Papoose. Let's go back to the early 2000s when she wasn't a fierce solo queen as we know her today. She had just been discovered by Big Pun, who was grieving his death. And she was left with one man who promised to keep everything together, Joseph Cartagena, also known as Fat Joe. He did, but not in the way the public believed at the time. Terror Squad wasn't just a rap group. It was an empire, and Fat Joe was the godfather. He had Remy in the studio. The relationship between Joe and Remy was complicated from the beginning. According to an ex-Terror Squad assistant who worked in their management office from 2002 to 2006, she had her own dressing room. Not because of her status, but because they didn't want people to see how close they really were backstage. She called him Joey, and he called her Mama even off camera. And when sessions went beyond 2 a.m., sources now say it was more than just music. Night after night, they pushed her to the front lines, hyping her up on tracks and giving her what appeared to be the biggest brotherly cosign in Bronx history. No one asked her why she was still. This is where it gets. In a 2005 archive video that was rediscovered this week, Joe is seen hugging Remy after a show. Nothing unusual except that before the camera cuts away, you can hear Joe mutter something that fans had never noticed before. This time, we're going to get it right. What did that mean? What were they trying to get right? And why has no one ever asked about it? It wasn't just a casual flirtation or industry chemistry. It was emotional and personal, and it's been hiding in plain sight. Joe had a lot to gain by remaining silent, positioning himself as the hip-hop peacemaker, the businessman, the one who brought Big Pun to the world and later supported Remy when no one else would. But what if that support came from a deeper place, one that was filled with guilt or something more romantic? Because this is where Claressa's interview takes this from a rumor to a scandal. During a late-night podcast interview, she was asked about the tension between Remy and Papoose. Instead of giving a superficial response, Claressa smirked as if she knew something, and then she said, "I was with Joe before Pap." In real time, that is a rewriting of Remy Ma's legacy. Insiders are beginning to talk about Papoose, the man who married her while she was incarcerated, holding her down for 6 years and reintroducing her as a symbol of devoted black love. One former promoter claims to have seen Remy and Joe check into the same hotel room after a 2004 show in Atlanta. At the time, no one questioned it. We assumed it was just for safety. However, with this new context, the story hits differently. There is also talk about a 2003 Terror Squad trip to Puerto Rico, which was billed as a music retreat. But several unnamed sources now claim Remy and Joe were seeing Claressa's comment wasn't just a one-liner. It was a trigger, a key that unlocked a vault full of whispers, files, direct messages, and suppressed truths. It's rumored that several crew members expressed concerns about the relationship's potential impact on the business, rather than the relationship itself. One source recalled an argument between Fat Joe and an executive producer who warned him, "You mix this up, you lose everything. So why is this all resurfacing now?" K-Mac, people began interacting with those they had been ignoring for years. A verified hip-hop blogger claimed in a no-deleted tweet that an old iPod from Rhee's pre-prison days contained voice notes from Fat Joe. The device is allegedly still in someone's possession. And although no recordings have leaked yet, the internet is closely monitoring it because there is almost always a full fire with receipts where there is smoke in hip-hop. Fans have even joined the hunt. And Reddit threads are flooded with frame-by-frame analyses of old music videos searching for glances, touches, or anything that seems too intimate. In one clip from the Lean Back remix, viewers notice Joe, and as the energy builds, it becomes evident that if Remy Ma and Fat Joe actually had a romantic relationship, even for a brief period of time, the timeline we've been fed for all these years is a lie. It suggests that Papoose may have fallen in love with someone who is still emotionally tied to another man, that Fat Joe may have buried a personal history for the sake of image, business, and brotherhood, and that Remy Ma's redemption arc has a hidden meaning. Remy shares a moment on stage just before the beat drops where they laugh and whisper something off mic. It's quick and innocent if you didn't know any better. Prelude one that they hoped would never be revealed, but it's out now, and this story is just getting started because what Claressa said on that podcast was only the beginning. Trust us, we'll go into her full interview, what she revealed next, and how the hip-hop world reacted when this bombshell reached every timeline from the Bronx to Beverly Hills. Claressa Shields didn't just let a little truth slip out. She blew off the entire damn cover off the industry's best-kept secret because the interviewer blinked and asked if she was serious. Even flinching, she said, "People in their circle know I haven't got time to lie." Pap was aware of it, but he didn't think it had any bearing until now. In the next 10 minutes of the now-viral interview, which has been captured on camera, uploaded, re-uploaded, and stolen again like digital contraband, Claressa dove headfirst into the Remy x Jo timeline, claiming that there was tension between Remy and Joe even in recent years because they would be on set and not even look at each other like two people with a past they pretend never happened. When Remy Ma and Papoose held a public vow renewal ceremony in 2022, Fat Joe posted a picture of sneakers instead of a post or a congratulations. And while his so-called sister renewed her marriage in front of friends and family, Claressa wasn't finished, claiming that there was a specific incident in 2015 at a private after-party after a bet taping where she overheard Fat Joe pull Remy aside. So you might be wondering why Joe was the only one who didn't post anything and say, "If you ever want it again, you know where I stand." Claressa didn't say if Remy answered, but she vowed that Remy didn't leave right away and that line, "If you ever wanted it again," hit the internet like a bullet. Within hours, #Joe and Remy went viral on Twitter. And one user pulled up footage from that exact bet event, and sure enough, Joe and Remy are seen whispering in the corner. However, when viewed in a completely different light, it feels like proof that wasn't just an old rumor. It was a breadcrumb trail. Within 48 hours after Claressa led us straight into the fire, fake insiders began to emerge from the shadows. Some of them were obviously chasing clout, but some were too close to the truth to ignore. One anonymous post from a former Terror Squad road manager stated that in 2004, Remy was traveling alone in Joe's SUV rather than with the rest of the team and had special clearance in hotel bookings. He claimed that their rooms were frequently next door and occasionally, mysteriously, only one room was needed. Now, I know that rumors circulate quickly in this field, but this isn't just about one report. It's about a pattern of behavior that, when combined, tells let's talk about the public reactions. Fans felt that the same Remy who positioned herself as a symbol of authenticity and transparency may have had a love triangle wrapped in layers of denial. They were that Fat Joe, the UNCC of hip-hop. K may have been concealing a personal history while positioning himself as the link between artists. They were also at Papoose, the man who supported Remy during her trial, prison parole, and public pressure, only to now be treated like the second chapter of a book she had already begun with someone else. For example, one tweet said, "Pap was doing jail visits while Joe was experiencing flashbacks." Another lean back was never about the dance, but rather about avoiding questioning. It didn't help that Fat Joe was utterly silent, no declaration, no denial, while Remy Ma, who always claps back in zero, was not saying anything at all. 2 seconds later, everything went dark. No tweets or stories appeared, and the conspiracy theories began to take off. Some conjectured that Claressa intentionally disclosed the information, perhaps as payback for a recent argument she had with Remy at a charity function, while others said she was fed up with defending those who had never shielded her. Whatever the reason, old video interviews began to circulate, including one from 2017, in which Remy Ma was asked directly if she and Fat Joe had ever been romantically involved. She laughed and responded, "People are so disrespectful. My brother." However, body language experts pointed out that she was blinking nervously and suddenly pressing her lip, looking sideways. Was she hiding something, or was it just her nerves from being asked such a ridiculous question? The audio then surfaced just 3 days after Claressa's interview went viral, and a mysterious SoundCloud link started the 28-second video, which has been making the rounds in group chats and Discord forums, shows what appears to be Rhee's voice at a low volume late at night while she laughs and says, "Joey, stop. You know how I feel about you." There is no date, context, or confirmation. But the internet didn't care because the timing was too good and the voice sounded familiar. Let's not forget the visual evidence that people have discovered. A 2005 throwback magazine shoot that shows Joe and Remy sitting close to each other, holding hands. In a behind-the-scenes photo that was never officially published, the photographer was recently interviewed by a well-known DJ who toured with Terror Squad said, "Look, everyone knew something was going on. We just didn't ask. Joe was territorial. If anyone so much as flirted with Remy, it was a problem." All of this leads to the inevitable question of whether Papoose was the rebound or, worse, the distraction. Because if Remy and Joe had a history and it wasn't over before she got with Papoose, then what kind of love triangle were we watching for the last 15 years without even realizing it, as this was no longer just tea? It was a full-blown identity crisis in hip-hop relationships. And Claressa isn't backing down when asked if she regrets what she said. She posted a single tweet that said, "I didn't lie." That's it. No explanation, no cleanup, just those 3 words. And that made everything 10 times worse, because if she hadn't lied, everything we knew about Remy Ma, Fat Joe, and Papoose would have been revealed. Fans started demanding answers, and bloggers dubbed it the most shocking revelation since the Cardi-Nicki DM leaks. An insider close to Papoose claims that he was already suspicious before Claressa said anything. He had been aloof for weeks, allegedly sleeping in the studio and spending less time at the family home. Then, if Claressa's shields weren't lying, the story we've been sold for years, the ride or die black glove fantasy of Remy Ma and Papoose, just shattered like a dropped trophy on concrete, because ever since the interview ended, the silence from everyone involved has been louder than any diss track, and behind that silence is a Category 5 emotional hurricane. When the interview began to circulate, Pap's mood changed. The source claimed he didn't explode, he just froze. You've never seen a man deal with heartbreak in real time like that? Next came the brief, cryptic, but incisive tweets that said, "The worst pain doesn't come from enemies," and then they'll rewrite history to protect their image. Finally, the one that went viral revealed to me that he was simply family. That tweet alone received 1 million impressions in a matter of hours, and the narrative abruptly changed. People weren't just curious anymore. They were engaged in comment sections filled with heartbreak, disbelief, and betrayal. "We're all hurt if Pap is hurt." One fan wrote, "This man held her down through prison, and this is what he gets." But this is where things get complicated. On the day that Pap's tweets went viral, Remy Ma deleted all of her Instagram posts. No announcement was made, but nothing was left behind. No family photos, birthday tributes, or Black love images. And even her most recent freestyle post was removed. Fans wondered if this was a PR ploy, a digital version of a full-blown identity collapse, or something else entirely. Mr. I Got Nothing to Hide's planned Instagram Live was canceled. His media team was silent, and he uploaded a sneaker post on the day of Remy and Pap's vow renewal in 2022. It has since been quietly cleaned up, as if someone went back in time and started rewriting receipts. But you can't erase memories, and the fans remember everything. More people started bringing up old interviews and award show moments, including Terror Squad reunion specials. Clip in particular has people shaking. Papoose is sitting next to Remy, praising